about the reality of extraterrestrials. Have I seen Minecraft? I've seen the book, but not, I mean, not the book. The video game, but not the movie. Similar to the concept of Australia. So when you're in Australia, nothing is created until you're there. Yeah, it's the reality of nothing is built until I see it. Um, I don't think that's true. I just think there's so much of the universe that we haven't explored. So, you know, I still have this conversation that I want to have with Liz about the politics of the afterlife. But the problem is, much like Big Brother here on Earth, our super source Big Brother is always watching what the entities say to us. So there's a little bit of a, oh shit, source is listening, to give you the secrets from the other side. So that one will probably go over most people's heads. I don't like doing that, but people in the comments say, "Hey, why don't you tell who each person is?" That's up to you to Google. I'll show you a picture of the person, I'll tell you who it is, but you can look up who they are. And that is, I've got a lot of questions that are in depth, but I don't know how candid souls will be knowing that they're being listened to. I don't want to send any participants to our afterlife political discussion into the incinerator. I would feel bad about that. If you don't know you're being listened to, then certainly you are. So that brings us to the predictions webinar for week 4. And this will be free for another couple weeks because I think it's fun. I want to encourage people to do it. We didn't have as much participation this week because of Snowmageddon that encompassed the entire United States and shut everything down from Bismarck, North Dakota to, I don't know, well down to south of Texas. It's a cold snap. So I wasn't able to put in everyone's answers, but I'm still going to do that and I'm still going to track the leaderboard. Magic is helping me out to make it so that you can enter in your answers better. And that way you'll get immediate feedback on what the answers are. Same old SHIT on repeat. Well, yes. And I think in our CTT 2 weeks ago, I did breach that question about how was that mirror created in the first concept of source looking at the mirror and being disgusted with itself. And the answer didn't come through as well as I had hoped. So I'll have to get to that again. If you guys want to interject anytime, ask me any questions, you can. This is a informal webinar, so please answer or interject just with any questions you've got. I probably didn't ask it in the right way. Right. I was trying to find out who made the mirror and how was it a mirror and what did it see when it looked inside of it. And then, if Source is is running the whole universe and Earth is so important, then you'd think we'd have a little bit more uh restructuring of the system up there. So there are a few setups that I want to do for this week. I shut down doing 3 muscle tests because I thought I was trying to avoid having disparity of your answers. So I thought if I give you 2 muscle tests and 1 ideogram, that way you'd have three, and you could always pick yes or no. In the spreadsheet tracking, there's not a great way to write pass yet. So that's why you're either participating with a yes or no or not. Because we had 4, you were able to pass. So I thought if I created a system where you had only 3 answers, 2 muscle tests, 1 ideogram, then you'd have at least not an agreement, but you could make a determination because it wasn't split by 4, it's split by 3. Liz mentions that source is male too. So I always call the source female because I'm, hedging my bets, but we'll see when we get up there. And I got a lot of flack from that last Minnesota ice video. Man, people were angry about that, but I'm just trying to give her perspective. I don't have any opinions on it. I've got opinions on it, but I don't want to spread them online. It's just, I was trying to play the devil's advocate on both sides, whether it's the administration, whether it's ICE, whether it's the protesters. It's just, I'm trying to get that amount of information from everybody participating. So I try my best to be impartial. Thank you. Uh, I wanted to also share with you the complexities of lottery. So this time I gave you a lottery sheet presenting an idea of how to get lottery answers based on a binary tracking to show you how complicated it is, even though we're going to try and do it. I didn't sleep last night because my window was constantly assaulted by sleet and hail and wind and ice, uh, like 4 or 5 times in the night. So I was up for about 5 a.m. and I was thinking about different methods of lottery collection, and I wrote those down. I'm going to try those. Had a lot of weird ideas, but we can just talk about aliens too. Uh, I don't know if the aliens would. I didn't see any last night. I didn't have any of them come through in the lottery suggestion, but I had about 6 good ideas about how to get lottery numbers. And Source had told me in a previous probe that I would come up with a way to get lottery numbers consistently. We don't have the person here with us right now, but I do have a remote viewer that I used to work with whose brother consistently got lottery numbers. And he would tell us that, he wouldn't want to, he'd share them, but he wouldn't share them all the time. And he only used it for getting money when he needed it. Like he'd go and get a $500 ticket. I never saw this box of lottery number tickets that he had, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. That would be a good target. The box of lottery tickets from so and so when he was most winning. But I wanted to give you an idea how difficult it is. Hey, Shane, good to see you here. Thanks, buddy. And I appreciate
Howdy.
everybody's support here. So there's a lot of tracking that needs to be done for lottery right now, whether it's binary or whether it's associative remote viewing method. We're still working on the best way, but I wanted to go through it with you to show you what we could do, how we might make it work. And you have to meditate when you're doing your ARV. You can't just sit down and write checkbox, 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 finger check, finger check, finger check. You could, but you're not going to be as accurate as if you spent 5 minutes kind of doing some holotropic breathing, just centering yourself, trying to get down to that alpha state, which I talked to. So if you want to spend maybe 3 minutes holding your middle finger, like FU finger, and your thumb together, and sort of deep breathing, deep lowering your vibration. You're trying to get down to that theta state or alpha state. It's a kind of a low alpha, high theta. And that's going to take you 2 or 3 minutes. And then you'll just go ahead, breathe out a couple times, take your sheet of paper that you've got that has the 5 TRNs or the 10 TRNs, and you'll want to practice that each week. So I'm trying to do it so that it's free each week. You get feedback each week, and we'll continue to do more each week for it. And but you'll get better answers if you spend more time meditating on it. That's good. Meditation is helpful. You relax with the muscle testing. And one of the things you should ask is now a good time to muscle test? And you're confident. Well, I guess the first thing to ask is, am I relaxed? Am I clear? And if you get yes answers for that, then continue. You can ask, is now a good time to muscle test? And if you get a yes for that, then continue. But if you get a no, where your forefinger and your thumb break at any point, that means that it's no, and you should just stop and walk away and go do something else, get a drink, look in the fridge, hydrate, uh, you know, shovel the front driveway if that's what you need to do. But it's not the best time. You're not going to be as accurate. So you're asking your source, what is the best time for me to do it? Maybe I need to take a nap. Maybe I need to call a friend. But whatever it takes, I'll come back to it and ask those 3 questions again the next time. And if I get 3 yeses, then I can start with it and just move through. Muscle testing is like a somatic response and it requires calibration and strict rules. Some of you have been using this sheet that you sent me on dowsing. It's got a lot of different vectors. So the best thing about muscle testing is that there are 2 vectors to go through, a yes or a no, a true or a false. With your sheet, which is dowsing, you've got like 26 or however many different vectors you can go to for that pendulum. And it's okay for some things, but it's not best for this thing that we want 1 or 2 answers for. So let's try to stick to the muscle testing. I think it's going to be, or the sway back. If you feel your sway back is working too, sway forward and sway back. That's also something you can do, leaning. But we're trying to not give a flying flippity flu vlam about the answer. That's the other thing. Disengage from what the answer is so that you don't give a flying flickety flam. If you don't care, you'll do better than if you're really, oh, I got to get this right. I got to. If you care, you're going to like overset your bias and that's going to come through. So this is the first one for week 4. We had a muscle test and an ideogram and your prediction. And there were five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I was hopeful that you could just send this back to me and put it in. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see everybody's yet because power came back on recently. So I'll go through and I'll input that. I'll also send out all of the predictions or all of the targets that these were associated with. So let me tell you how I make this. I make this with a program that gives me a unique target reference number. The TRN's always alphanumeric. There's no I, 1, 0, O, because those are confusing when you say it out loud. So I try and give unique alphanumeric numbers. Sometimes it's sequential, sometimes it's not. This is what it spit out for this time. And then on a separate worksheet, a separate document, all these TRNs have a statement. The statement is either this team wins for this next game, or this lottery number will be correct for this draw. But it represents a statement that is either a positive or a negative statement. So what we're doing is we're going to show you all those statements, and then we're going to show you all the answers to those statements. The winner of Friday, January 23rd, Houston Rockets at Detroit Pistons equals the Detroit Pistons. So there were 10. We're doing 5 at a time. I had equals Detroit Pistons this time because I was trying to introduce like a formula for it. I've used formulas before with a greater than or less than sign, so I wanted to see how that was tracking with everybody. Also, we did another NBA National Basketball Association game. The Boston Celtics and Brooklyn Nets apparently are a basketball team now, and we said that the Celtics were the winner. So we made it as kind of like a statement with an equal at the end. One of these is correct, one of these isn't. The next one is for National Hockey League. If you like watching hockey, it's fun. The Vegas Golden Knights at the Toronto Maple Leafs. The next winning team for this game is the Maple Leafs. So you'll notice that I have the start time and the date. That's the reason that's important is because sometimes they'll play 2, 3 games at a time, and if you just put the next game, viewers might pick up on the wrong game of the series. So if I chronologically set the when, and I didn't say where because I don't think that's as important as establishing it like at the time, the date and time. Um, if it's at the Brooklyn Nets Stadium, that means that it was played there in Brooklyn. Yes, at their stadium. The Devils win at the New Jersey Devils Vancouver Canucks on the 23rd. And then the other Friday game was National Basketball. It's a college hoops game where I did not think that Rutgers would win, but I wanted to say like a statement that would be in the negative to see what happened. So let's take a look at the real answers. The Pistons did not win, but the statement was the winner will equal the Pistons, and the Rockets blew them out. So that one gets a no. So if you'd gone through the muscle testing for that one and you got no, then you would be on point. For the statement of the second one, the winner is the Celtics, the Celtic Celtics. They destroyed, but it was a close game. Apparently, they don't know what defense is over there in the B team. So that was a statement that was true. So had you gotten yes with either the muscle tests or the ideogram or the all of them, you would have been right on that one. So we're tracking how accurate we're going to be based on each of the targets over time. Your consistency is going to increase the more you do it and the more meditation you do. It's going to take you about a month of consistently doing 10 a week to get better, and up to that 60, 70% is what we're looking for. So with confidence and with the I don't give a flip attitude, you should be able to get up to that 70% across all of them. The next one was the Knights. Let's see what we did there. That was a false statement that the Maple Leafs would win because the Vegas Golden Knights destroyed the Maple Leafs. Guy looks very sad over there. Yeah. And then the Devils did win. So again, we've got a no and a yes and a no and a yes for the first one and the second one, the third one and the fourth one. So if your muscle testing or your ideogram pointed to, now why is it that sometimes you get an ideogram that points yes and your muscle testing points no? I don't know. It's just that's the way the pen drops sometimes. We don't know why the answer is, but we're trying to get more consistent across different methodologies. So if you've got a methodology you think is going to work better, then let me know. We can try it out next time. And the last one was the Rutgers wins, and that was false. So, or not true, or no. Um, so view was yes, no, no for the first five. For the second five, same way. It was muscle testing. This isn't horses. That's the wrong slide up there. But um, that's when I used to play the ponies with Shane's group back there in the day. We need to get back to doing that too. An NFC team wins the next Super Bowl. That was the statement of fact for the first one. And we don't know because the Super Bowl is next weekend. So we don't know if it's an AFC team or an NFC team, but we're going to look and try and see if we can figure it out. The Flyers, the versus the Avalanche, the Ducks versus the Kraken. That was a good one. I like the Kraken drop five that I did with Liz. The Capitals at the Flames, and it says in each of the statements which of them win. But this one, I introduced a second thing: the Ducks win or tie, because sometimes games can end at a tie, I think, and I like soccer, so I'd forgotten to introduce that. Uh, what was the first five? Yes, no, yes, no, no. Yes, no, yes, no, no. And so let's look at this one. All our TRNs are here. Uh, we don't know what's going to happen with the Super Bowl yet because that's played next week. So the first one is a question mark. It could be an AFC team or an NFC team. The Avalanche did not win. The Flyers destroyed. So the 3A, 5B, 8C is no. 6D, 9E, 2F is a yes because the Ducks won. Uh, and I think I can put win or tie in consistently for the next targets too. Like if we're looking at um, additional games that happen. So we don't know what the first one is. We're skipping that one, but the second one is no. The third one is yes. Then for four and five, we're looking at the Capitals, Flames, and Utah, Colorado State. Capitals did win. Utah State did win. So that's two. So we've got don't know, and then no, yes, yes for the others. And again, I'm going to go back and look at the consistency and see who submitted, what the time was. One other point is that if you do submit your data after the game, you might be more accurate. And we do that in lottery too. We try to look backwards at the draw event to see how accurate we are. And we can look like from 2 hours after the draw event, what were the numbers? So in the next queue, I might try implementing that look back to see if you get better accuracy points. Not yet played. The Flyers won, the Ducks won, the Caps won, Utah won. So those are the three or four games that we looked at for that. Uh, don't know, no, and then yes, yes, yes. Who did you pick? The statement is false. The statement is true. The statement is true. The statement is true. And so your ideogram or your muscle testing should have reflected that those last three statements were true. Now, sometimes you'll be on for muscle testing. Sometimes you'll be off for muscle testing, and you don't know which day it is that you've got that. Double check the first three. Uh, you can see the screen, right? Everyone can see the screen? People can see the screen, right? Okay. So it's right there on the screen. False. We know the first one skipped because it's played next week. The first five is yes, no, yes, no, no. And the second five is we don't know for the first one, no, and yes, yes, yes. Then we did box. So for dowsing, I wanted you just to look at the box and say, what do I feel has resonance in this box? Not maybe use a pendulum. Maybe you want to use a pendulum. I've never used a pendulum for this, but good, good. I'm glad you did well. Can we look at the first five picks? Well, they were up there. They were right there. These are the first five. Oh, these are the first five right here. There are no pictures. I made the pictures. The pictures are me. There are no pictures. There's no associative remote viewing photos, what any of these. These are just the,
Yeah, we just mean the answers though, because I think we just got a little bit confused.
I made the
So can you,
pictures to easily
yeah,
show you what the statement is and whether it's true or whether it's false.
Yeah, but you're
okay.
saying
So
the
the first one was
opposite.
a no, right?
Pardon?
The first one is a no.
We think you transposed them, Ronan.
3A7, 4D, 5G,
Yeah,
7N.
3A7
Yeah,
is a
so
no, and you're repeating that it was a yes. So you're saying the order was yes, no, no, and I don't know if it's Candace,
You are
and I
right.
yeah,
So the answer is no, yes, no, yes,
no.
and then
no.
no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank God.
Thank
I
you.
thought I was going crazy.
I'm working on my yeses and nos, and I don't know which is which yet. So thank you for
Well,
calling me an idiot on that one. You're right.
I like the X's and check marks, the green and red. That's good. That'll help us in
Oh,
future. Thank
thanks.
you.
Very.
I'll
Thank
put
you.
those
Bye.
in the next one too. Good call on me. Thank you. Um, and then for the next one, we've got an X means no, apparently, and then a check means yes, apparently. And then check yes. Kadum badum badum. Yes, good deal. And so for this one, we wanted to do more of the Super Bowl to find out who's going to win the Super Bowl. So here is the box. The Seattle Seahawks and Los Angeles Rams are playing right now. The Denver Broncos lost in a snowy, sad day here moments ago. So if you'd put an X, the following is to determine which the viewer will mark on X on the winning team for the next Super Bowl, which is next weekend. So there are four boxes and there are four teams playing. If you marked it in the one, two, I don't know how you want to count this, but let me write this down so we're all counting the same way. Uh, we'll call this one one. We'll call this one two. We'll call this one three. We'll call this one four. So if you put a check in or an X in the third box, sadly, you're out of the game. If you put an X in the fourth box, you might still be in the running. We don't know who's going to win. The Seahawks and the Rams are playing right now. I haven't looked at the score, but this was just another fun way that I wanted to try to see how well we would do at predicting who's going to win next week because the Super Bowl is coming up. Everybody wants to know who's going to win. You got the Patriots. It's always a good guess because the Patriots seem to always win the Super Bowl every single year for the last 700 years. It's the Super Bowl 60 coming out. It's fixed. Yeah, I agree. Um, there it is right there. The Seahawks, the Rams, the Broncos, the Patriots down there. And this is the AFC team on the right and the NFC team on the right. Or I'm sorry, my right and my left. I'm still learning. AFC on the right, NFC on the left. I got to put my hands up to see which hand makes an L. The one on the left is over there. And you'll never guess what we did for this one. It's the same thing because I wanted to see, do you think the NFC or the AFC? So we'll call these boxes one and two for D62 and one and two for D82. So if you high intuitive and also dyslexic, I say words dyslexically sometimes too. Um, so we don't know yet. I don't know who's going to win. I haven't done it yet, but this is the Patriots win there. If you'd put an X on D82, then you would have been all right. And if you would have put an X on, I don't know. Let's see. Let me do a muscle testing real quick. I'm getting the Rams right now. So that's my now prediction, but I'm front loaded to it. Um, so I wanted to show you front loading too with the lottery picks. Any questions about our boxes or muscle testing for right up this one? or suggestions on how to make it better, how to implement it? What are your feedback on it? Thank you. Candace, anything?
Potentially. I'm just seeing how it's going, yeah. I'm keen to just
Okay.
see what's going on and to see how I've gone versus what, like I did a few different ways of testing this round, like just to see what actually works for me and different ideas. So it'll be interesting to see what the outcome is and the percentages. It's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, so we did things that have closed and things that haven't closed too. So in the future, I want us to give immediate feedback on what you submit. So, it will have a consensus and that will be our pick, and then we'll determine if the pick was right. Currently, because of the lead times and what we're doing, we're doing things that have closed so I can give you the answers and the feedback. But I'd like to continue to do things that have like a medium range percolation or answers, and then a long range to see what is going to come down in the future. So we have immediate feedback now for these videos. How about you, Oscar? Any feedback? I can't hear you. Okay. How about you, Galaxy Tab A7? All right. Um, Thank you very much for participating in this and being a part of it. I'm trying to get you better at muscle testing so you can use it for your own benefit too, and that's really the goal in it. I'm not capitalizing on these bets at the moment. I'm not making any predictions on this. This is really kind of just a group project to see how well we can do and how we can get better at it. Patriots down there. How do I kill that? Kill that annotation down there. Oh, it was meant for that. It's not an annotation. It's a that. So the Patriots, that is the box that should have been checked for DA2. We don't know what for D8, D62 yet. That's coming up. So there were so many choices for the lottery, and it's important to be consistent. We're finding now that we're not consistent. So how do we amp that up? How do we get better at it? How can we make it so that we're on point and can predict the numbers accurately? Again, I had waking nightmares about how to do this. A lot of them are weird, so I need to get with an engineer to find out how I can do it. Um, but I have ideas that came to me last night. Do I have recommended meditations? I don't really. I don't like listening to anything online because I'm worried they're putting subliminal shit in there. So I don't trust any YouTube video. I think that it could be trying to hijack my soul. Would probably not, but I just what helps with meditation? I like Baroque music. So when I'm doing my remote viewing sessions, it usually takes me like 30 or 40 minutes, and I have a Baroque playlist of like there's some Enya songs in there as well, but it's just stuff to kind of like zen me out. It's usually non vocals, so I like music that I listen to with remote viewing that is only instrumental because music makes you think of things, or you like words makes you think of things. If you like Wu-Tang, yeah, that works. If you like scream death metal, that works fine. Anything that chills you out. Not elevator music. Mine is more like Baroque, like chamber music from the 1500s, because it kind of dulls my brain. When you're doing remote viewing, you want to get into like a negative thinking state or a no thinking state. So anything that can get you there is better. So whatever works for you is going to work for you. I don't know what it is. The remote viewing is both the left and the right brain. It's a binary process. That's why it's if you have like a metronome, you can use a metronome when you're remote viewing, and there are different points in a remote viewing session where you're using your left and using your right. So I was looking at a lottery draw from the past, and I wanted to see how accurate we'd be with when you're front loaded to the boxes. How good are you going to do with looking at the answers? And you have to go with your gut reaction. One of the things that I wanted to mention to you is this week I was on my walk with my dog, and something came to me in my head and my gut that I should not turn right. I should go straight. And we never go straight around this other block. But as I turned and walked this intersection in my periphery, I noticed that there was a dog that my dog does not like and that barks at a lot. So my initial gut reaction and my intuition told me that do not go right. That is a bad idea, even though I didn't know why. I didn't think about why until I walked maybe 10 more steps. But I had an intuition that I should not go the way that I normally go because it's going to piss off my dog and they were going to bark and get screamy at each other. So I chose to not do that. In doing this box process, just go with your gut. Uh, is it you don't need to ask, is it yes or no? You don't need to muscle test with this. Just look down the thing and write down which one comes to you. Uh, the only problem with this is that I don't know if there's a consensus on if zero is an even number or an odd number. I always say it's an odd number, but the first number was five in this previous draw. I think it was from January 9th, and I'll look back. It's on the sheet here. But the ball value is odd because the first number is a five. Was that there? Yes, the first number in that circle over there is a five right here. So for five, we're going to go through the check boxes. The ball is odd. Yes, it's odd. The ball is even. No, it's not even. The ball value is 0 to 4. No, over there. And the ball value is 5 to 9. Yes. I might want to change this to is equal to or greater than. I didn't do that for this, but we'll see which one works. The ball value is prime. And notice this are just queries for the first ball. Same thing for the second ball, but we do it the same way. The ball matches the same ball from a previous draw. The only thing I was thinking that could be a problem with this is what if they move the position of the machine that draws the ball? Because what I'm asking is it in the exact same ball that's coming down as that came down last week for ball one? But what if they've moved the machine three over to machine one to try and screw with remote viewers? So now none of the balls in machine one are from last week. They're all over number two or number three. So I need to figure out how do I make that more tight as an answer because I don't trust them to not move those balls around on me. They're sneaky. They know what I'm trying to do. Uh, yes, up here you got yes, yes, no, and then yes, no, yes. So close to some of them. It would be difficult if Alicia got yes and yes. So the ball value is an is imaginary number for ball number one because you got it's both odd and both even. It cannot be both odd and both even. It has to be one or the other for that one. Um, and so does it repeat this ball in this draw? That is also questionable because we're asking about the value. Well, is it the value or is it the representation, the numeric representation? We might have to find out how we coin that word better. You didn't front load. Well, you're supposed to front load. You're supposed to look at all of them and then do it and say, "Oh, what did I get?" Uh, that was looking. So this is, I wanted to look at last week. So this was January 9th from West Virginia Lottery, pick three. There's only one drawn every day in West Virginia. And a lot of them have like two draws, four draws. You, living anywhere, can also buy online a ticket to West Virginia Lottery. So if we get good at this, no matter where you are, you could buy five lottery tickets and then, there's 2,500 bucks if you win 500 bucks on each one of them or $2,000. Who don't want $2,000? And oh, well you didn't need to do that. So this last week, well, we did for Friday, January 9th, the draw was 544. For the day before, January 8th, it was 819. So there were no repeating ball numbers, whether or not they were ball one, two, or three. So we're safe in not questioning that particular point of it. The second ball was four. And so the answer for the second ball is the ball is odd, no. It's even, yes. It's four, yes. It's not five. It's not prime because four is not prime. The ball matches from a previous draw, no, but it repeats another ball in this draw. Now you can ask other questions. These are just questions I was stewing on in my head about what would make it mathematically viable for us to pick lottery numbers in a way that we could get it minus tax. That's true. You're gonna have to pay some taxes on that, whether whatever you live in. But that would maybe you can still be anonymous. You could your LLC would need to pay taxes on it. And then for the third ball, same thing. For the ball value is odd. It's similar to the last thing. It's going to be the same this time, right? Because it's the same one as last time. Now, you can look at these and not think, but it's hard to read something and not think because your brain wants to participate in the project. So the goal in this next time we do the lottery draw pick is look at what it says, but don't think about it and just go with your gut. What does my gut tell me? Don't think. Just click the box, click the next line box, click the next line box. You can read it, but don't think about it. And don't do a muscle test on it because your muscle testing, this is a different way to strategize if your front-loaded picking is correct. We can see how well that is. I think it's asking odd than even is hard not to discern from that. I could change the order of the questions. Yeah, I was just trying to make it clarifying questions for the number. And that's the way it comes up in my head when I'm trying to sequence out balls. Shuffle it up. Luck of the draw. Yes, these will be randomized next time. So, it won't be ball value, ball value, ball value. We'll have it different. So you could read it and think. 544. Here's the other things that I was trying to think of. Just other questions which would make it easier in your stratagem to see what you're picking because we want to do numbers in the future, not past numbers, but it's better to see past numbers how we're tracking on the answers. And do any balls have the same value? Yes. Are three balls different? It says no. We could put are two balls different would be a question. Does a pair exist? Yes, which is a good question because then you've got two numbers. And if you're playing wheel, there are also ways you can play where you play the ends. You can play wheel, box, shuffle, random. So we can implement questions regarding the sequence of that pick three too, which I didn't in this time. Are all three balls identical? No. Does the first ball equal the third ball? Is the max ball I don't know if this is asking the max ball minus the minimum ball greater than or equal to two, which would be that would probably have to be put in parentheses as like a statement and like a mathematical equation to make it work better. You got them all correct. Awesome. Even though you were blind. Well, you don't look at them, I guess. You're doing better with this than the muscle
No, no,
testing and
no.
the ideograms, right?
No, just these little questions, the cross balls in one of my tests. So I did three different ways of testing, and one of them I got just these particular questions all correct.
Wow.
Which is good. So yeah, I did it three different times.
This is the hardest one to do.
Well, there you go.
And so,
And
like,
yeah, but that was blind. That was the test that I did blind. So I just numbered them 1 to 34 and I put them in anyway. Yeah.
And so ideally, I've got a bot that shows everyone's contributions. What am I, British? Everyone's contributions, and then it looks at this data set and it comes up with the best suggestion for those three numbers. And so it's going to give us, based on everyone's input, based on everybody's leaderboard tracking, in their lottery projections, what are the most common denominators and what are the most likely scenarios for a future ball draw in the pick three. And we can try it, with muscle testing. We can try it with dowsing. I wanted to do it front loaded to see which way works best. Next time we'll shuffle these up so they're not all in the same order. I might have different questions, and I'll have questions about the sequence of them and the different types of draw you can do on them. And we'll do a more immediate one because I want to consistently get to the point where we're doing the same thing as my friend suggested that he could do. Uh, and consistently, Well, you got to the other thing is you've got to renew those tickets like sometimes within 30 days. So you can't sit on a box of, you know, shoebox full of winning lottery tickets because if you don't turn them in 30 or 60 days, in some cases, they won't pay you. So we want to make sure that once we get this situation working, we can 60, 70% is very good with your muscle testing. And that's what we're trying to aim for. With the pendulum, it's harder because it goes in different directions. But I want to get consistently up to 70% so that each of you can put another couple $1,000s in your pocket every week, either on the poly market bets, the lottery bets, or other things. So we're tracking things that have happened now. Next time we'll be tracking things that have not happened, and we'll consistently do these video calls to show you what the answers are for it. I have not gotten approved for the poly market. I do not know where I am in that. Shane, do you have a poly market account?
Banned by our government, I'm afraid.
Is it legal down there? Probably not.
No, they banned Polymarket for not being like a
Oh,
registered
crap.
bookmaker. Yeah.
Candace, I'm sorry you're out of luck.
I don't know. There may be some VPN techniques and things to look into. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure there's VPN, but I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
You don't want to come knocking to your house asking if you're wearing a mask. So, hey, we'd love to sure have
No,
two
I've seen
IP
that happen in
addresses coming to your
Miami.
place, and you don't have your citizen internet card.
No, I don't have one of those. No.
Yeah, we're doomed.
I've seen people knocking on the doors in Miami though. So about Facebook comments and things, but that's interesting anyway. That's a different topic.
Well, you can still buy lottery tickets in West Virginia. It's only $5 or $2 probably. I don't know what that is in Australian dollars, but
That's probably about
Oh, probably
three.
like
Yeah.
7, 10, I think 20 probably, 25, and then lose probably like 70% of it. No, just joking. It sounds like a great idea.
No, I think it will definitely work if we get consistently better at picking these. And I've got other stratagems that have come to me in my fever dream state. So I'm going to try and work those out to see if we can get better at them, and try them in these markets in Virginia and West Virginia. I'm going to stick to those states because it's easiest to buy off-site from those states. So does anybody have any questions off topic or about anything else regarding our draw, our picks here, or about protests, or about the afterlife, or about aliens?
So I just did like a couple of different ways, as I said before. And I kind of used muscle testing. I did because I didn't really know what we should have been doing. I didn't realize that we just needed to kind of ask the question and go with the feeling. So I kind of muscle tested. I did some tarot card things, which were kind of interesting as well. I took out like the major arcana and then just put yes and no for different suits and then came out with it. But like I said before, I actually didn't really know if we should be asking the questions. So I kind of I just numbered out however many questions you had asked and then did the muscle testing from 1 to 34.
I wanted to give you the autonomy to do the way you wanted to do it without as much direction. So in the future, I'll give you more direction. And in my haste to get things out, I sent out like the wrong TRN. So I wanted to, resend that out. I was trying to get it done at midnight, and I shouldn't send emails out after midnight. It's a bad idea.
Okay. You gave us like no boundaries whatsoever.
Right. The rails are off.
I need some sort of box.
I must have
Oh, dear.
direction.
No, well, I didn't, and I think that was all right. But
How do you know you're in theta? Was the question from Galaxy Tab A7. It's really a feeling of like Theta is difficult to get to. Really, you want to aim for your alpha state when you're driving your car or you know throttling your horses if you ride a stagecoach. I don't want to diss the Amish if they're riding a stagecoach. You're in high beta, you're on high alert, you're and getting to an alpha state is just below that threshold. In theta, you're all a little bit sleepy and your eyes are almost closing. So we don't want to really be in a theta state unless you can be lucid and aware and awake in a theta state. I don't want eyes closed because they kind of you start to hallucinate and make stuff up when your eyes are closed. So all these exercises should be done with eyes open and as alert, but as into the theta state as we can be. You have a heightened awareness in the alpha state and a heightened attention to your unconscious state in the alpha state. I do not have. I have binaural beats that I made, and I also have a Dick Sutphen 4 Hours Sleep CD that I made. So Dick Sutphen is a one of those guys that used to make videos in the 90s or audiobooks in the 90s, but he talks really, really slow. And so I ran it through Cool Edit Pro, I think, and I made him talk faster. And I added my own binaural beats and I added my own subliminal text that tells me that I only need to sleep 4 hours a night. So I used to listen to this and it was really, really effective. And I got to the point where I only needed to sleep 4 hours a night. Um, but I now I like sleeping, so I don't listen to Dick Sutphin anymore, but I made edits with that. You can use Neural, Gnaural, and then embed some sounds in it. I can, I'll send out an email with there's a guy that I like. He has a couple websites that he makes, and he has tones that I endorse or that I think are good. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'll send it out in the next email. I created my own binaural beats with the Cool Edit Pro software. Is there any correlation with dyslexia and RV success? There is a correlation, but not in the way that you think. When you become proficient in remote viewing, you become a synesthete or synesthete, which means you process information differently. You begin to see sounds and hear colors. And the goal in becoming a remote viewer is to be more synesthetic. So it's not the dyslexia that you would normally think, but it's a stage two discombobulation of your senses. You have a great story about the time you were fed a probe. Well, okay, let's hear it.
No, I have a great story about, I think it was you that did the Are They a Fed probe? Did you do that
You just
with
did
Liz?
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I got quite a following on Facebook. I know none of you are on Facebook. So I was like, oh, this is a great question because I'm into law and politics, all my adult life. And I was like, I think Jonathan Fishman's a Fed. And Jonathan Fishman is the drummer for the band Fish. I don't know if you
Oh,
know any of this. And he's super, super like liberal and he's always posting that stuff. And I didn't put his full name, or anything. And then that within a couple hours, maybe the next day, I saw him on my page.
whoa.
Yeah, and I didn't like tag him or anything, Like I didn't tag his name. I just put, I think John from the drummer from Fisher. I don't know how I worded it, but I didn't tag him or anything.
Dang.
And hold on, I can prove it to you too. If you give me a minute, I can send it to you. I was like, oh man, he's such a Fed.
Yeah, that's the danger with asking if they're a Fed because there are definitely Fed tags, I'm sure, that pop up. I just thought it would be a fun probe to see what because everyone's always saying that about, some person. I'm sure a lot of people in music are highly engaged with or embedded with federales in some way because they're publishing a message, they're sharing in their music entrainment. And entrainment is what we practice when we're doing binaural beats. And it's the same with music. So if I can entrain people to get a message, then they don't even know that they're getting it.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Matthews is like in trouble for his, comments on ICE, and you just alienate your group. But yeah, I've always thought John Fishman, the drummer from Fish, was a Fed because he's always posting super liberal left stuff. And then he was on my page.
There it is right there. Scary. I think that a lot of the guys out there that are publishing information are being fed information and they're what Liz and I got a couple years ago is that there are going to be lots of more false narratives that come through. And your goal is not to see the truth because all of the false narratives are just distractions to prevent you from seeing what the truth is. As with Kalshi, where one can win money in the outcome of the real world, is Kalshi legit? That doesn't seem legit to me, I would say, but I'll have to look into it to see.
Well, if you do another It's a Fed, please ask for Jonathan Fishman
Well, then
and
we'll do
Dave
some other
Matthews.
music industry folk and see what pops up to them, what shakes through to them. But definitely there are a lot of them out there. I want it to be like kind of a recurring series of people to see if they're, just a quick look. Are you fed? Are you not? Are you controlled? Are you not?
Dave
I thought
Matthews too.
I thought that Trump designated Antifa as a terrorist organization, and that keeps coming through as who's funding a lot of this protest stuff. So I don't know why there's not a better investigation into how that money is coming through, or I guess it's easy to change money around. Easy to hide in the crypto scene, and nothing has come of the other, a lot of things that should have happened that haven't happened there. But Rage was paid off. Yes, probably. Uh, on the Patreon, I'll look at that. I haven't seen it yet. But what other types of ways do you guys think we could look at the lottery or future upcoming events to bet on, to forecast on, and how you want to implement it? Do you want to implement it for yourself? Do you want blind cues for yourself to see if they're helpful for you? If you're more accurate with things that you don't like, if you wanted personal tasks, I could maybe send those out, and that way you could track your offline your own personal task about yourself versus what we're trying to do as a group. What would you like to see done next?
All of the above. Please. I like the personalized ones. Like that would be really cool for some of the questions that that we've come up in your remote viewing course that we may not have gotten to just yet.
Yeah. And I would
I
think
think
those might be more likely to be accurate because it's for you. So my thought
mm,
was asking topic query statements about shit you might not care about. Maybe that's not as accurate for your muscle testing and your heart's not in it. But if I could generate questions that are, unique to Shane, unique to Candace and everyone else, then you might be more like sub unconsciously invested in getting the right answer for it.
I think that that'd be really helpful then to like then move into doing this type of testing as well, because maybe we just need to get used to it again.
Right.
Uh, or just get more practice. And maybe if it is personal, then we can actually, like tap into it. And then when we move into the, yeah, the testing that we're doing at the moment, maybe then it'll be a little bit easier to get the answers because we're already able to tap into it more intuitively, maybe.
Yeah, so when making a target statement for remote viewing, you can say my optimum investment, and each person that gets that task will then talk or make a session about their own personal optimum investment. And because I don't know enough about your present situation, the tasks will be the personal task statements. They're going to be unique to you, so you might get a different answer than somebody else, but they won't need separate TRNs, is what I'm saying. So when you get the task, it's going to go to your own personal body and your own personal mindset and situation and answer based on your prerogative and not the group prerogative. Like in difference to what we're doing with the other ones, because the other ones we want symmetry, we want agreement. But for the personal tasks, it provides you with greater flexibility in getting your own personal answer, right?
Right.
I am confident because other groups have done predictions confidence with less, and that will be something that I make on your next sheet to ask you what your confidence level is about the groups or the group's settings. Sequentially, I like to do 5 TRNs at once. Maybe you can take a break after that. Don't feel like you need to do all 10 at once, but I want to stick to 10, maybe another group of 3. There might be 15 the next time, but take a break in between each 5 to give yourself a recognizance break. Like take a 2-minute break in between doing 5 at a time. And I want you to get fatigue across it. And that's one of the problems with doing multiple ARV sessions or associative remote viewing sessions is that your remote viewing skills, longer term, longer sessions get shitty when you do multiple ARV sessions. So a lot of the ARV instructors and people that say, "Hey, let's just run an ARV project," they burn you out and then you suck at regular remote viewing. Regular remote viewing sessions, take like 30, 40 minutes. So your ARV sessions take like 10 minutes, but you're not getting as much nuance, as much depth, as much information. One remote viewing session will get approximately 175 to 225 pieces of data or words or photos, and an ARV session gets like 30. So you're getting much less nuance when you do an ARV session, associative remote viewing, 1 photo or 2 photo feedback session. You're not trying to be an asshole, but I write at least 26 pages of legal work a day. I didn't understand getting fatigue on this. You'll try harder. You did get fatigued or you did not get fatigued? You don't ever get fatigued. Okay. Well, the difference in this is that you're working your unconscious and you're working your psi receptor muscle. And there is an element of I'm exhausted to this point. I'm just going to phone in the next 10. If I have, I would do groups of these like 50. So this TRNs you see, I would do a page of 25 and then a second page of 25. So I had 50 tasks that I would do every 3 days. And I noticed that by after 15, I was kind of just phoning it in. I wasn't really confident in my muscle testing. I was kind of just like second guessing and using my brain a little bit more than I should. So if I keep your tasks to 5 muscle tests at once, you should be able to do 15, but take like a 30-second break in between. That just gives you a chance to recalibrate and a chance to not have to feel like you're phoning it in for the second 5 and the third 5. The first task took you 2 hours. It should take you like 2 minutes to do. Like it's like literally taking your thumb like this. Is it yes? Is it yes? The statement is true. and then your thumb doesn't go through the OK sign, then the answer is yes. That's like, 5 seconds. The next one, the statement is true. My thumb breaks. That's no. The third one, I mean, it should take you literally 2 minutes to do five of them, and then 2 minutes to do another five, and then 2 minutes to do another five, and you're done. I mean, to print it out might take 30 seconds. If it's a PDF, you can print it out and just look at it, and then 2 minutes, maybe less than 2 minutes, maybe like 90 seconds, but don't spend a lot of time on it. Don't overthink, don't think, don't ever think when you're doing these. Even when we get down to the lotto draws, you're not supposed to think down there either. Did that help or did that overcomplicate things, Alicia?
No, that definitely helped. I guess I just didn't understand what fatigue was. I guess the first time was just I had no idea what the muscle testing was, and then I got it backwards, and
Well, we did a pre-show about that, talking about it, and so maybe you
yeah,
missed that first video
no,
when I
I
explained
watched
about.
it 3 times. I just wasn't
Okay.
getting it,
I just maybe need to use my hand next time on the screen, or maybe like make a
Yeah, I
little.
guess I was like, I don't
I'll,
understand. Right hand, left hand,
I'll have Nano Banana make a new video for me showing you how to do it, and it'll, have dancing bears or something behind it. So,
And then I
um,
did each
Oscar,
number
I've
like
noticed I overthink. My yes and no gets confusing. Yes, that is true, which is the point I'm making. So that if you do like 10 in a row, that would take me maybe 4 minutes to finish up 10 muscle tests. But I wouldn't want to go do my next 10 because I need to walk around for a minute. I need to get some water. It does dehydrate you to do this. And it does, you may want to have a banana because it depletes your supply of, I think it's epinephrine,
Potassium
potassium as well.
and sugar.
Norepinephrine is a precursor. N-acetylcholine, it also
Hang
depletes
on,
your
what did you just
supply.
say? Norepinephrine? Is that what you just said?
Uh, I said norepinephrine, but I don't think that's correct. I was thinking of N-acetylcholine. I used to take a choline cocktail until I found out that it was laced with aspartame and it making me dumber. But a banana is a precursor to choline, and that's why you can take the banana as well in between muscle testings groups. But you're only doing like 15, so you could like have half a banana between 5 and 10 or 10 and 15. You don't want the dancing pandas behind me?
Just you do it.
All right, everybody. I am going to go trudge through the frozen tundra, which is my back and front yard, and try not to fall because I've already broken a hip once and don't want to break another one. That would not be idle fun. So I'm going to gingerly walk outside and pasteurize eggs for choline as well. That's also a good suggestion, but there are no eggs in the store where I live. They've all been taken by people that thought they would never be able to leave their house again. So the shelves are bare, the eggs are bare, the milk is gone. That in the future you can use farm raised eggs or bananas or something. Just
Mr. Reality, it read pasture raised, not pasteurized.
pasture raised. They say that, but I never trust them. Because I think their definition, I imagine if you have chickens that are, pasture raised, organic, that they've got roam to range, they've got a real fancy chicken coop, and they've got, fresh water, bubbling water, and yeah, like my idea of organic chicken raising is probably not what theirs is because they're trying to optimize their chickens. So I've seen the way chickens are raised and it's sad. I would hope that farm raised organic chickens have a much better life than normal chickens. I also want to do a probe on Leica, the dog, who was launched into space by Russia, but I think it would be very sad. And I want to ask, how is the life review for pets? Like, what do they go through? What do they talk about? My owner was able to, throw the ball with me, you know, 12,000 times, but I was upset that I wasn't able to get enough bacon in my life. Like, what do they talk about in their life review? I'm curious. Eggs is where the yolk is, and the yellow instead of the pale, unhealthy looking. Yes, I've seen bad eggs. Pasture raised are usually the most yellow. I like brown eggs, uh, because I think they look yellower.
I got one ball. You were the one.
Now, I haven't asked that about a dog life review, but I would like to. I'd like to find a specific dog and talk to it about its life review. I don't think so. Galaxy
I'll
Tab
bet
87, I can
you,
barely hear you.
I'll
Say that
bet you
again.
money. I'll bet you money that you have. It was like it was in some probe, and you asked about like the human, the previous lifetime before being a human, and you asked who were their master, like their programmers, and it was like someone that had just been a human, and it wasn't like the bird brains that humans get. Don't you remember that?
No, that's
What the fuck?
they've
Yes, you
got
do.
better life review experts than we do.
What? Yeah, we've had the, yeah. Do I must just talk to myself, maybe.
That's possible. I do intend. I do as well. Some of the best conversations I have are with myself when ChatGPT is not there.
Yeah, but apparently it was like it was one of the panels or something like that, and I'm pretty sure it was you, and you had asked about yeah, the person's, and I think it was a female, her previous lifetime just before her being a human. And then she's ascended and gone, and now she's a programmer, and she's a programmer for the animals.
Hmm. I don't recall that person. I'll have to go back in my data records and look.
Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe it's just bullshit. I
I
don't
don't
know.
remember specifically a programmer for them. I mean, I remember everybody I've done. I remember all the people, all the questions. I can't think of that, but I'll look and see if I can find it in my notes.
Okay, I bet you $1,000
Well, I don't
in
want to bet you $1,000.
US.
I will bet you
Why not? Let's put it
$3.
on Polymarket.
We can't play
Ah,
there,
jokes.
sadly, yet. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate
No,
it. I
thank
thank you for
you.
changing the time. I'm sorry about that, but without power, it sucked. And hopefully that won't happen next week. I'll send out the new queues. There'll be 15 of them, a group of 5. Do you want to know if they're personal tasks or not personal tasks? I think it would be better for you invested emotionally to know these are my personal tasks. So I'd like you to be front loaded to that idea, but not the tasks themselves, but just the idea that they are related to you more specifically. Agree? Disagree? Yes, let me go with my gut on that one and make it. So you don't need to tell me what your answers are for that. You can keep those private. And when I get your responses, I will send back that immediately. And then we'll do the grouping of 5 and 10 and 10 and 15 in a live call with feedback. And I'll track that on the leaderboard. Thank you guys. Wonderful to see everybody here. Thank you again for your support. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you. If you ever have any questions, you can shoot me an email and I may get it. I'm really bad with email, especially with like 80 of them coming through at once. I'm trying to automate that and I don't do well at that automation task. So it's all on me. Blessings to you all as well. I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, for CTT or late at night, wherever it is that you are in the wide, wonderful world of Upside Down. Oh, we'll miss you, Code the Water. Bye, everybody.